Welcome back to Shane and me. Peter Rabbit, Chapter 26. Peter Rabbit listens to Mrs. Peter. Safety first is a wise rule for those who would live long. Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit was glad enough to get back to the dear old briar patch after his narrow escape from Old Man Coyote by dodging into Jimmy Skunk's old house halfway up the hill. And little Mrs. Peter was glad enough to have him, you may be sure. She had been watching Peter when he so heedlessly almost ran into Old Man Coyote, and it had seemed to her as if her heart stopped beating until Peter reached the safety of that old house of Jimmy Skunk just one jump ahead. Then she saw Old Man Coyote hide in the grass nearby, and she was terribly afraid that Peter would be heedless again and come out, thinking that Mr. Coyote had gone. Poor little Mrs. Peter, she was so anxious that she couldn't sit still. She felt that she just had to do something to warn Peter. She stole out from the dear old briar patch and halfway to where Old Man Coyote was hiding. He was so busy watching the doorway of the old house where Peter was hiding that he didn't notice her at all. Little Mrs. Peter found a bunch of tall grass behind which she could sit up and still not be seen. So there she sat without moving for a long time, never once taking her eyes from Old Man Coyote and the doorway of the old house. By and by she saw Peter poke his nose out to see if the way was clear. Old Man Coyote saw him too and began to grin. It was a hungry, wicked-looking grin, and it made little Mrs. Peter very angry indeed. She waited just a minute longer to make sure that Peter was where he could see her, and then she thumped the ground very hard, which is a way rabbits signal to each other. Peter heard it right away and thumped back that he would stay right where he was. Though right down in his heart, Peter thought that little Mrs. Peter was just nervous and foolish, for he was sure that Old Man Coyote had given up and gone away long ago. Now, of course, Old Man Coyote heard those thumps, and he knew just what they meant. He knew that he never could catch Peter so long as Mrs. Peter was watching him and ready to warn Peter. So he came out of his hiding place with an ugly snarl and sprang toward little Mrs. Peter just to frighten her. He laughed as he watched her run and all breathless dive into the dear safe old briar patch, and then he trotted away to his favorite napping place. As soon as Peter was sure that he was safe, he started for home, and there little Mrs. Peter scolded him soundly for being so heedless and thoughtless. Peter didn't have a word to say. For a long time he sat thinking and thinking, every once in a while scratching his head as if puzzled. Little Mrs. Peter noticed it. "What's the matter with you, Peter?" she asked finally. "I'm just studying what Old Man Coyote means by telling me one day that he is my friend. I'm proving it by doing me a good turn and then trying to catch me the very next time he sees me." "I don't understand it," said Peter, shaking his head. "Oh, you dear old stupid," replied little Mrs. Peter. "Now you listen to me. You did Old Man Coyote a good turn, and he paid you back by doing you a good turn. That made you even, didn't it?" Peter nodded. "Well, then you are right back where you started from. And Old Man Coyote doesn't see any reason why he should treat you any differently than at first. And I don't see why he should either, when I come to think it over. I tell you what, Peter, the thing for you to do is to keep doing good turns to Old Man Coyote, so that he will always be in debt to you. Then he will always be your friend. As little Mrs. Peter stopped speaking, Peter sprang to his feet. The very thing, he cried. It's sort of a golden rule, and I do believe it will work. Of course it will, replied little Mrs. Peter. Chapter 27. Mr. Mocker plays a joke on Mrs. Peter. This little point remember, please. There's little gained by those who tease. Peter Rabbit. Mr. Mocker the mockingbird had been very late in coming up to the Green Meadows from way down south. The truth is, he had almost decided not to come. You see, he loves the sunny Southland so much, and all who live there love him so much, that if it hadn't been for Uncle Billy Possum and all Mr. Buzzard, he never would have thought of leaving even for a little while. Uncle Billy and old Mr. Buzzard are particular friends of his, very particular friends, and he felt that he just had to come up for a little visit. Now Mr. Mocker reached the Green Meadows just after Peter Rabbit had brought little Mrs. Peter down from the old pasture to live with him in the dear old briar patch. He knew that little Mrs. Peter didn't know anything about him, for he never had visited the old pasture where she had spent her life. But he knew all the bird people who do live there, for he had met them in the sunny Southland where they spent the winter. I believe I'll go pay my respects to Mrs. Peter, said Mr. Mocker one day, winking at old Mr. Buzzard. Old Mr. Buzzard chuckled and winked back. Ah, certainly, hopes you will have behave yourself right proper, and not forget that you is a member of one of the oldest families in the South, said he. Mr. Mocker looked quite solemn as he promised to behave himself, but there was a twinkle in his eyes as he flew toward the old briar patch. There he hid in a thick tangle of vines. Now it happened that Peter Rabbit had gone over to the sweet clover patch, and little Mrs. Peter was quite alone. Somehow she got to thinking of her old home, and for the first time she began to feel just a wee bit homesick. It was just then that she heard a familiar voice. Little Mrs. Peter pricked up her ears and smiled happily. That's the voice of Tommy Tit the chickadee, and it must be that his wife is with him, for I hear him calling, Phoebe, Phoebe. How lovely of them to come down to see me so soon. Just then she heard another voice, a deep, beautiful, ringing voice, a voice that she loved. It was the voice of Weary the Thrush. Oh, cried little Mrs. Peter, and then held her breath so as not to miss one note of the beautiful song. Hardly had the song ended when she heard the familiar voice of Red-Eye the Vireo. Little Mrs. Peter clapped her hands happily. It must be a surprise party by my old friends and neighbors of the old pasture, she cried. How good of them to come way down here, and how glad I shall be to see them. With that, little Mrs. Peter hurried over to the tangle of vines from which all the voices seemed to come, and eagerly peered this way and that way for a sight of her friends, but all she saw was a stranger wearing a very sober-colored suit. He was very polite and told her that he was an old friend of Peter Rabbit. If you are a friend of Peter, then you are a friend of mine, said little Mrs. Peter very prettily. Have you seen anybody in this tangle of vines since you arrived? I am sure some friends of mine are here, but I haven't been able to find them. No, said the stranger, who weighs, of course, Mr. Mocker the mockingbird. I haven't seen anyone here, and I don't think there has been anyone here but myself. Oh, yes, indeed there has, cried little Mrs. Peter. I heard their voices, and I couldn't possibly be mistaken in those, especially the beautiful voice of Weary the Thrush. I would like very much to find them. Mr. Mocker had the grace to look ashamed of himself when he saw how disappointed little Mrs. Peter was. Very softly he began to sing the song of Weary the Thrush. Little Mrs. Peter looked up quickly. There it is, she cried. There she stopped, with her mouth gaping wide open. She suddenly realized that it was Mr. Mocker who was singing. I'm very sorry, he stammered. I did it just for a joke and not to make you feel bad. Will you forgive me? Yes, replied Mrs. Peter. If you will come here often at shadow time and sing to me, and Mr. Mocker promised that he would. Chapter 28. News from the Old Briar Patch. To use your eyes is very wise, and much to be commended, but never see what cannot be, for such as you intended. Peter Rabbit. Jenny Wren is a busybody. Yes, sir, she certainly is a busybody. If there is anything going on in her neighborhood that she doesn't know about, it isn't because she doesn't try to find out. She is so small and spry that it is hard work to keep track of her, and she pops out at the most unexpected times and places. Then, before you can say a word, she is gone. And in all the old orchard or on the green meadows, there is not to be found another tongue so busy as that of Jenny Wren. It is sharp sometimes, but when she wants it to be so, there is none smoother. You see, she is a great gossip, is Jenny Wren, a great gossip. But if you get on the right side of Jenny Wren and ask her to keep a secret, she'll do it. No one knows how to keep a secret better than she does. How it happened, nobody knows, but it did happen that when Peter Rabbit came home to the dear old briar patch, bringing Mrs. Peter with him, Jenny Wren didn't hear about it. Probably it was because the new home, which she had just completed, was so carefully hidden that the messenger sent by Peter to invite all his friends to call didn't find it. And afterward, she was so busy with household affairs that she didn't have time to gossip. Anyway, Peter had been back some time before Jenny Wren knew it. She was quite upset to think that she was the last to hear the news, but she consoled herself with the thought that she had been attending strictly to her duties, and now that the children were able to look out for themselves, she could make up for lost time. Just as soon as she could get away, she started for the old briar patch. She wanted to hear all about Peter's adventures in the old pasture and to meet Mrs. Peter. But like a great many other busybodies, she wanted to find out all she could about Peter's affairs, and she thought that the surest way to do it was not to let Peter know that she was about until she had a chance to use her sharp little eyes all she wanted to. So when she reached the old briar patch, she didn't make a sound. It didn't take her long to find Peter. He was sitting under one of his favorite bramble bushes, smiling to himself. He smiled and smiled until Jenny Wren had to bite her tongue to keep from asking what was pleasing him so. He looked tickled almost to death over something, but very likely if I should ask him what it is, he wouldn't tell me, thought Jenny Wren. I guess I'll look around a bit first. I wonder where Mrs. Peter is. So leaving Peter to smile to his heart's content, she went peeking and peering through the old briar patch. Of course, it wasn't a nice thing to do, not a bit nice. But Jenny Wren didn't stop to think of that. By and by, she saw something that made her flutter all over with excitement. She looked and looked until she could sit still no longer. Then she hurried back to where Peter was sitting. He was still smiling. "Oh, Peter Rabbit, it's perfectly lovely," she cried. Peter looked up quickly, and a worried look chased the smile away. "Hello, Jenny Wren. Where did you come from? I haven't seen you since I got back," said he. "I have been so busy that I haven't had time to call before," replied Jenny. "I know what you have been smiling about, Peter, and it's perfectly splendid. Has everybody heard the news?" "No," said Peter. "Nobody knows it, but you and I don't want anybody else to know it just yet. Will you keep it a secret, Jenny Wren?" Now Jenny was just bursting with desire to spread the news, but Peter looked so anxious that finally she promised that she would keep it to herself, and she really meant to. But though Peter looked greatly relieved as he watched her start for home, he didn't smile as he had before. "I wish her tongue didn't wag so much," said he. Thank you. If you are new to my channel, do subscribe.